Okay, so some different colors here. Oh, it doesn't save. That's the worst. All right, so going into game here, Caitlin Leona versus Zaya Rakan. So Zaya Rakan is obviously a very good lane early, and they're going to be very, very good at bullying. One thing you have to note is that Rakan does have Ignite. This could be an all-in type of game for them. And your Leona, who's sort of like queen of the all-in. But Caitlyn probably doesn't like. There is synergy between Leona and Caitlyn, but Zaya Rakan, the champions were literally designed to go together. So I'm gonna give the edge to Zaya Rakan. And Zaya has lethal tempo compared to fleet footwork here. So yeah, I'm going to give the edge to Zaya Rakan on the early all-ins. Obviously, Caitlyn probably will be able to outscale with items just because of her range advantage. And Leona is just going to be very tanky for the entire game. So that's kind of how bot lane goes. Another thing to take into account here is that you're playing against a Kayn. And this Kayn is Dark Harvest. So Dark Harvest Kayn means blue Kayn, unless something has changed. But I think that Red Kayn always wants Conqueror, and I think that Blue Kayn always wants Dark Harvest, or pretty much always. I don't know the exact nuance on that, but you can pretty much rest assured that he's going blue, which is okay for him because he is playing against ranged matchup in the jungle, ranged in mid, and then you have ranged ADC. So it's not one of those lanes where I would expect to never see Kayn. Kayn could potentially show up and try to get orbs off of this, and then if he already has enough blue orbs, he can try to get orbs off of this as well. So sometimes we're just lucky. Like Kayn commits to Conqueror, and so we know that he wants red form, and we're playing like a range support, like um, any of the enchanters or something like that. And so Kayn doesn't really want to come bottom too often. But in this game, Kayn could definitely look to go bottom, trying to get blue form. Just things to consider as we load into the game here. Skip ahead to the open. It's a little bit of a weird spot to be. Uh, I mean, so if jungle is going to come up here and top lane's going to cover this, then mid lane can cover the brush, especially because this is Orianna, and with balls you can see everything, and so you can actually kind of just go bottom with Caitlyn. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world or anything if you sit here. Just kind of thinking about how to refine what's happening. All this seems pretty standard though. Graves picks up the ward, recalls into red buff. Hope he has talisman. Don't know if he has talisman. No, he's got machete. I'm pretty sure I just saw machete on your tab screen. So Graves starting machete and then starting red buff kind of means like he's going to be looking to be top jungle pretty soon. And so if there is so here's another thing to take into account, right? Kayn is a jungler who, to my knowledge, usually likes to start Raptors, and then he has some options. Like usually he'll go into red, and then he could go into Krugs, uh, look for something top, or recall, or just run and path into his bottom side. If he does recall, then he still paths into his bottom side. So in this instance, like Kayn is still usually going to be starting top side, and he's still usually going to be ending up on the bottom side. Now, Graves is starting red buff, and he's got machete. So Graves actually wants to end up like over here, and he wants to end up over here pretty soon. Now, we kind of have to adapt to our Graves pathing in terms of the early lane, because early lane, like, so level 1, Leona's not very good, right? You only have one ability, so it's not the best. Level 2, Leona becomes very strong because the gap closer, the CC, the passive can be proc twice. That's very good. Level 3, though, is where Leona starts to shine because you get all that DR on top of Aftershock, which I assume you're running. I actually didn't look at the support runes, but I assume that you're running Aftershock. There's no real reason to run anything else. So this is like very, very good. The W with the Aftershock, so good. So we kind of actually have to be careful of Kayn because we talked about how he could show up in the bottom and he could look for some damage on Caitlyn to get some blue orbs. And unless our Graves does, like our Graves did type in chat over here, we saw a second ago, it said like red Raptors rush clear. And so I'm not sure what that means, but what I assume is that he's going to go one camp to one camp into his top side and then clear blue and then kind of like go to this camp or this camp, maybe clear like wolves on the way and then do blue gromp recall and the bottom side. In any case, what that's going to do is give Kayn priority onto the bottom, so Kayn can actually make a gank in bot lane before Graves can be there, I'm pretty sure. Especially if Graves like stays top after collecting blue and tries to pick up this scuttle, and then Kayn can kind of just handshake that by taking the bottom scuttle because Kayn was going to be down here anyways. So we're going to have to play the early lane, conscious of the fact that Kayn is going to be able to gank us before Graves will. I'm assuming, like based off of his items, then when he typed in chat, I'm assuming. Get brush cheese, feels bad, man. Do have Aftershock so we don't die. This is all okay. Pop a potion, stay in lane. I think that's fine. Rakan did take some damage. You took some damage, so got the range advantage with Kate early. So I think like pre 3 minutes or whatever, pre 4 or 5 minutes, you pretty much have the lane to kind of harass on this Rakan a little bit because Kayn kind of wants to get a clear in before he ganks. That's all really nice trading. Really nice trading. And now what we do in this spot, if we've gotten to this spot, what we can actually do is kind of just stand here and zone them off the wave. So we play this wave as slow as possible. So we're only going to last hit. And then also, something I don't think that really gets talked about enough is that you can actually delay the incoming wave. So your minions are down here somewhere, right? And so obviously these minions are going to die before your minions do. And you have a zone right now, so they actually can't really even walk up into XP range. So your goal should be to get as many of your minions to die as possible without them able to get a single last hit, or optimally even a little bit of CC. Not CC, EXP, sorry. So what we can actually do once these minions die, if we do end up hitting these things as a support, so the ADC can do it, but the ADC is more like, Caitlyn's going to be more effective at zoning than you early because they don't exactly want to engage on her if you're still in the vicinity. So what you can actually do is sort of stand here while Caitlyn collects this last hit. And then when Caitlyn starts to look for this last hit, so it's going to be very soon, but you can see that these two bolts are firing at this minion, right? So you can wait like another half a second or something and then start pathing back towards your wave. Whatever that looks like, you can start pathing back towards your wave and sort of just interrupt the minions. So like if the minions are trying to walk forward like this, sorry, I just reprogrammed the hotkeys, so I didn't remember which one was which, and I just cleared the whole screen. So let's say that your wave is down here somewhere. These minions are going to die, right? So what you can do is you can sort of like path. As the minion wave is coming in, what you do is you sort of just like stand in front of them. You sort of like block them. And so as they try to like move around you, you sort of just like match them. I don't know if you've ever played like a racing game or something like that, but it's like if you're trying to hold on to like your first place and the guy behind you, you know, like you're going and the guy behind you is trying to like pass you. And so they do like this back and forth motion. All you need to do is sort of like stay a little bit ahead of them every time since you're already ahead. And so that's kind of what you want to do with your minion wave, sort of like in and out and just interrupt them to prevent them from walking as far down the lane as you can. If you can do that, then the wave, like maybe the wave is supposed to walk up to right here before the next wave crashes, but instead, because you delayed it, maybe you can get it to crash like right here. Or if you're like really good, really lucky, and maybe Caitlyn's helping you out too, you can get it to crash like right here. So this doesn't seem like a hugely advantageous thing, but look at the distance on the wave here. between one and the next, which gives more room to even continue to zone, because if the minion line is like pretty much right here, you can actually stand on this second line and threaten EQ, and Caitlyn can also play on the second line and just threaten autos. They won't be able to engage. They're both level 1. Caitlyn's level 2. You're going to hit level 2 before they do, because you're zoning them off of EXP. And so because they can't walk up without taking free Caitlyn harass, you're going to hit level 2 before they do, which means that you can then threaten EQ onto them. So they literally can't walk up, and so maybe like 3 of your minions die or something. Obviously, you can't like walk ahead of the minion line until the minions, you know, like settle into what they do. You know, they go into this like 6 formation, and then once they take the 6 formation, they start aggroing the creeps. That's when you can walk ahead. And then what you actually do is you both kind of just play like towards the bottom side of the lane, because Kayn could gank us here, but does Kayn want to gank a lane where you're both level 2 and they're level 1? So this guy can't really do anything to help us. This guy, I mean, he can engage, but he doesn't have any sort of follow-up, and then if he does engage, he could potentially die. So I don't think that Kayn really wants to, like, and again, what we talked about, like, Kayn's probably going to be here between, like, 3 and 5 minutes. Even if we assume that it takes another 30 seconds for the minion waves to completely, like, collide and then die out, and then us have to actually, like, just shove this towards tower. Even if we assume it's another 30 seconds, it's 3 minutes, which means that Kayn could be here, but he hasn't really cleared anything, if that's the case. Like, if he does this to this to this, and then ganks bottom immediately, this is a viable path for him. But he hasn't cleared his wolves. He hasn't cleared his Gromp. And so he also probably hasn't cleared Scuttle if he's here directly at 3 minutes. And so that kind of puts Kayn in a feels bad spot where maybe he can get a gank and get some early orbs. Best case scenario, you guys just burn a summoner spell and he gets some orbs. But he's not getting a kill, and then he's not advancing his jungle, so he doesn't really want to be here at 3 minutes. So you can play towards the bottom of the lane, because we acknowledge that Kayn's probably not going to gank us in this scenario, and then we can use the brush to break aggro. So sort of removing some of this clutter here. So if the minion wave is like right here, and then your minions are also on the line, so you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, something like that. What's going to happen is, like, as these minions focus aggro onto one minion, it's going to eventually die. And if you're standing like next to the casters or something, they might turn and start to aggro you. However, you can just duck back into this brush, break the aggro, let their minions continue to engage on yours, you know, and then kind of dip back out of the brush and reset the zone. So when you dip into the brush, these people might walk up a little bit, but as soon as you guys walk back out into the lane and just sort of stand here, or you can even continue to walk towards them if they continue to challenge you, then it's totally fine. You just use brush to break minion aggro. Instead, we back off of the pressure here, and I don't really understand why. Why are we just handshaking that we're going to give them these minions for free? It's so good for us. We even got a ward in the brush. Like, Rakan warded the brush. Like, this is so good. They've committed so much. I don't like killing the cannon when you did. Like, so the wave management here is kind of bad from both of you. So I'll point out the mistakes here. Autoed that minion way too early, number 1. Okay, let's keep the little fucking tally. We autoed a minion too early. And that's not like, it's not a huge mistake, but these things start to add up. So let's see all the reasons that this is about to go badly for us. Missed the auto on Xayah. It looks like we were trying to auto the Xayah, and it looks like it hit this minion right here. Right? Am I tripping? Yeah, we can tell it definitely hits the minion. Zaya's HP doesn't move. And then the minion's suddenly damaged when it wasn't damaged before. So we misclick on the Zaya. So we auto creep here. So the play, by the way, the correct play here is that we're going to slow push this wave because it's cannon, so it's not going to die soon, even though we have a ton of minions. It's very early into the game, so this wave is not going to crash the tower right now. It's not going to crash the tower right now. So the reinforcing minion wave will actually collide like probably right here ish or something. And so this will be the new minion line, which is definitely a range for you guys to farm when it comes up. So we shouldn't be trying to do anything except slow push this wave. Anything that doesn't only last hit this wave is bad. Because if you push it too much too early, the minion line is going to collide like right here in front of the tower. And then you're going to be like really at risk when you try to CS the casters. You might be able to get the melees, but then you're going to feel overextended because we talked about how Kayn is going to be on bottom side. So this is going to feel bad for us. Whether or not Kayn shows up, we're going to be scared. And scared is not what you want to be when you're playing a tank, like Engage specifically. And when you're playing someone who's already bullied the early lane, you want to continue to take advantage of them. Okay. Get rid of this. Auto the cannon. So you just autoed the cannon. So this is another tally here. Anything that doesn't only slow push the wave is bad. That auto is fine because it wasn't on a minion. You auto the cannon again. Then we kill the cannon at high HP. Okay, so we could have waited to hit that cannon until it was lower, but we hit it when it was high HP. Now look at where the creep line locks. I haven't watched this video, by the way. I don't know anything about this game. I haven't like looked at this. You know, I don't watch your replay files or whatever. Like, this isn't me cheating and looking ahead. I literally booted up OBS and then opened this. I don't know anything about this, but look at where the creep line is. Right where I said it would be, pretty much. I think I drew it like maybe a millimeter backwards, but like, who the fuck cares? Come on, man. Like, it's right where I said it would be. It's right in a straight line, right in front of their tower. Now, it feels bad for us to try to walk up and last hit that. And this is a result of 5 mistakes while CSing that wave. See, and this is what we have to do. Like, we have to go ward, which means that now because we have to leave, like, we have to respect the fact that Kayn is bottom, even though we don't think that he wants to gank us right now. We have to respect that he is because Caitlyn has to be farming this wave for an extended period of time. So because of that, we actually have to leave. And so because we have to leave, Caitlyn can now be engaged on. When they hit level 2 under their tower, Rakan can just look to Q onto her, or W onto her. And then maybe Q or maybe E out or whatever. Zaya's going to have QE probably. So Caitlyn's actually at risk of dying. Or maybe not dying, but getting like severely chunked out if she doesn't play this correctly. And this happens because we have to leave, and we have to leave because of the poor wave management. I like this ward against Kayn. That location. Yeah, so we end up scouting him. So Kayn does show up here at 316. I did think that Kayn didn't want to be here early, but you guys are so overextended. Like, so this is what's going to happen as you play against better players, is that the junglers are going to realize when there's a window of opportunity. And so we know that there's a window of opportunity if he just uses F keys or whatever to look at the lanes. If Kayn just spams like F keys as he's running through jungle or something like that, he would see that the wave is colliding right in front of their tower, and he knows that you're going to want to walk up to last hit it. And so this is a gank opportunity. Even though maybe you're up in terms of pressure and you're up in terms of levels, like Kayn is ultimately, like jungle at 3 minutes is very powerful, right? And there's no way that you guys would have 3 right now. So like Kane doesn't want to be here right now. So let me make that clear. Kane doesn't want to be here right now. But Kane should be here right now because you guys have played this so poorly. Kane doesn't want to be, but it almost feels like you haven't left him any options, you know? Like he's playing Dark Harvest, so he needs to be relevant in the early game to continue to scale better into the late game. And this is like prime time for Kane. Look, the ranged person, the person he wants to hit, was engaged on, probably right around the tower range. We don't exactly know where. But when we walked away to ward, they hit 2. Caitlyn was engaged on, right here-ish or something. And then she had to like run away. And now the Ignite comes out and she's only got like 300 HP and Kane's coming in with double buffs and Dark Harvest. And all he has to do is run down here and the kill is free. It's pretty much free because Ignite just went on. So it's going to tick all of that 90 damage or whatever. So that's going to be 100 of this 300 HP just off in true damage. Yep. Now we give Kane some more orbs. Have to flash out. Did we actually have to flash out? I don't know. That's something that, you know, we could argue back and forth on, but that's not really the thing that matters out of this moment in time. Pick up another potion. Got 50 gold, grab a pot. We could look at top lane while we're walking back. Yeah, here we go. That's a really interesting Ignite, and that's never going to result in a kill, which is really strange that he would choose to Ignite that. Whatever. I mean, if I panned my camera top and I saw that shit, I'd be tilted out of my goddamn mind, but maybe you're a better person than me. Yeah, so we don't really have a choice. This is going to crash. Too big to hold, really. This is all good. Kind of, I think like something kind of fucked up. I think Caitlyn queued the wave or something, and I think it fucked all these up. So I think all of these are just missed out on. And so the only thing that you can really do to actually get this CS from this point is try to take a guess at which one is going to live the longest, and then have Leona like auto that one twice. Because Caitlyn's like, obviously you're missing these, right? Like the tower's going to hit probably this one, and then it's probably going to hit this one, and then it's going to hit this one. So I think if Leona autos this one twice, Caitlyn autos this one once, while that's happening, it's going to set up, at least you'll be able to get this 2 CS. But I could be wrong. Sometimes the tower aggro's weird shit. Like it goes based on distance. To me, this looks like the furthest one away. I could be wrong though. I don't know. Nope. Okay. So I was wrong. So in this case, actually, if you auto this one time, and then Caitlyn will be able to auto it and get the CS. So we're in a spot where we feel like we can't really fight because Zaya Rakan and they're 4 and we're 3. We actually don't know what their items are. I mean, I guess like Caitlyn did die kind of early, right? But they haven't backed. Like they shoved the wave into tower and then they sort of like backed off for a moment. You could assume that they placed a ward somewhere, but they weren't gone for very long. And they're still missing resources. Like Rakan's missing a little bit of HP and mana. Zaya's missing some mana here. So you know that they didn't recall. So maybe you actually have combat advantage even though they have levels. Potentially we could look for something here. I don't know what Caitlyn was able to buy on the back. Maybe like a second Doran's Blade or something. But we don't press tab, so we don't really know. And so we have no assessment of their combat ability. And so at this point, you're probably just in the frame of mind where you're like, I'm just going to play like a bitch and try not to feed at this point. Like when Rakan takes this type of trade, like Rakan can die here. Right here. Caitlyn's going to get a headshot that does about like this much damage. Something like this much damage, right? You can actually just walk forward, throw the E. He's going to be, like, he just got rooted. So he's going to be rooted for a second or something. 1 second, 1.25 seconds. I forget what the timer is. But you can time that to where, like, I think if you just start walking forward, like as soon as Rakan starts walking towards this brush, you'd be in maybe a little bit better spot instead of being like right here. Maybe you'd be like right here. And then you can walk forward a little bit and throw the E. And now he's rooted, and then you auto Q. Auto Q. Now, he's going to have to E out if he lives, but there's something else to this, because when you E auto Q, he's going to be stunned, which means that Caitlyn, if she has the ability, she can actually reset a W onto him. And so he gets rooted, stunned, rooted. And he's about to get double headshotted, you know? So with 2 headshots, maybe it does like this much HP. E's going to knock off a little bit more. Auto Q is going to knock off a little bit. And then Caitlyn should be able to get like at least 1 or 2 autos. Especially that's going to proc your passive. And so Rakan's actually dead here. Let's try to like... he moved, so I can't tell exactly like where the damage was on my bars and stuff. That's what I was trying to look at. But yeah, I mean, it obviously takes a shitload of damage, right? A little over 100 damage. He's definitely dead here. Think about this sequence of events right now. He's got 1, 2. Every little tick represents 100 HP, in case you don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4. She's got a little over 400 HP. Zenith Blade is going to do some... Auto Q, trap another headshot. So at first it did a little over 100 damage. It's going to do, let's say, another little bit. Zenith Blade, let's say it does like 50 or something after resist. Auto Q maybe dealing like 90. 2 more auto attacks from Caitlyn maybe adds up to like another 120. And then it procced your passive as well. So I don't know what your passive damage is at level 3, but let's just say I added like 40 damage or something. I don't know. What does this add up to be? These 2 are 200. 30, 40 is another 70. And then 120. So we end up with 390 damage right now. Now he's got about like 400 HP. Right? And you're basically guaranteed, like unless I just did like stupid math wrong, but I don't think that I did, you know. But you did about 390. That's like guaranteed damage that he's going to take. No matter what, he will take this damage. 390. No matter what. You have Ignite. Caitlyn can always E forward. Like, not only should Caitlyn be orb walking this in, like, because he just took headshot, and so you would be Eing onto him and queuing and all that stuff. So she'll be able to close a little bit at the distance while he has to stand still because he's snared and he's stunned, like in sequence, and then he would get snared again, right? So she can close... Probably in that amount of time, even autoing, she can at least close like this much distance, right? She can get to like right here. And then from here, she can actually E forward, like aggressively, and maybe end up here. And so even if like at the end of the day, like he does like survive this, let's say with 10 HP, let's say that you forget to Ignite. So take away the Ignite damage, and he lives this with 10 HP. The only thing he can really do is go back to Xayah. But this is an auto attack range of Caitlyn. Isn't Caitlyn's auto range like right here from here? So he's going to get like a little shield, but if Caitlyn just gets 2 autos on him, he dies. Plus, if you engaged on him right here, you would also be still in a position to sort of just like walk this way, like walk this line. And so as they're trying to walk back to their tower or something, uh, maybe your E cooldown comes back up. Maybe you had W on the entire time and you get to pop him with W damage. That would probably kill him. So, like, Rakan's definitely dead here. 100%. And the thing is, I don't even think that he can flash it. Like, especially because if you go in there, you're going in there to get the kill, and so you would ignite. And so because you would ignite, like, the fact that he can E out to Xayah in the end doesn't actually matter because he wouldn't get the chance to. He would die during the CC lock with ignite. Okay. Nice. We end up dying anyways, though, and Rakan doesn't die. So in this case, this was all just kind of sloppy because Caitlyn wasn't there. Like, this gank could have potentially worked, but was this gank really optimal in my opinion? And do we commit Ignite to this gank? So let's think about what we can and can't do here. What we can't do is have Caitlyn catch up and add to the damage. So number one, Rakan should be dead because you should have played it better in that scenario, right? But because we didn't, we're now faced with this scenario. So we let the old thing go, and now we focus on what we can do. So Graves is coming in for the gank here. I don't know if we can really commit Ignite to this because I don't know if this is killable without Caitlyn's damage. Graves does have damage, but he doesn't have red buff, and so Rakan's already got like a passive shield. He can get another shield from E. He can W away. He probably has Q up right now. Like, he's pretty hard to kill right now, in my opinion. So I like the W before the E. This is nice. And so we get onto him, and Graves also has a really nice angle. Let's see what Caitlyn was doing. Did Caitlyn net forward? So Caitlyn still hasn't netted forward. I don't know if it's on cooldown, but I don't remember her using it anytime soon, so I don't think it's on cooldown. So she could potentially net, and maybe it would be in auto range for one auto or something. I'm not exactly sure. In the end, one auto wasn't the difference maker, though. Like, he's got a little over 100 HP, and so one auto wouldn't make the difference here. Yeah. Like, the auto Q could have killed him if she got it, but yeah. There's no reason for that gank to occur in the first place because Rakan was dead already, according to what I already talked about. Okay, so we're pressing tab. We see that Caitlyn has Cole. I don't like the Cole buy initially because she was behind, and so I actually talked to him individually. I don't know if it was before or after this game, but I talked to this player about Cole when you're behind, and so I don't think that it's a very good option. And I think that a lot of other people agree with me that it's a better buy when you're ahead. Okay. The play here is to soft shove this wave and hard shove the next. This is fine. So at this point, we know we definitely can't bully them under tower. Kane was bottom at like 3 minutes. It's now 7 minutes. So you could assume that his camps are back up on the bottom side and he can look to gank us again. Really like this ward. Really don't like the fact, though, that you're wasting so much time here. I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish. Kane's not going to solo the dragon. Okay, you're trying to make a play on dragon. I guess this is okay, but you missed out on so much XP. Like, Leona's kill threat goes up so much at 6 that it feels really bad. I also don't like that you're tanking this. I don't know what the communication was here between you and Graves, but Graves can tank that. Great, like Graves should tank that. We're not like we wait a really long time to press W, and so all of that is because we tanked the dragon, which is really weird. There's no reason for us to do that. I'm not even sure, like, I completely agree with that dragon call. Yeah, like, you got the wave under, but Kane should have been bottom at, like, 7 minutes, and so now Kane is, top at 8:30. So, yeah, potentially Kane was bottom at the time. So it's just because Kane didn't try to control that objective that you actually got it, but I don't know if that makes it a good call. I don't think it makes it a good call. And we're probably not going to win 3v3 in that scenario because they're coming off of a base and they have like so much more gold and combat stats, right? So if a fight does break out over that dragon, like you just hard lose. So I don't think you can really force. I also don't know how good of an option sneaking is. Because like by all accounts, Kane should have checked, right? Kane should have checked. At this point, we're probably just going to be trapped under our tower. Queuing that wave just meant that you didn't get like any of those. Yeah. I think you ended up getting like 2 CS out of that wave. We also can't really pink the brush when we don't have any ability to defend it. Like, in a vacuum, it's nice for us to be able to pink that, but it's not really in a vacuum because we acknowledge that Xayah and Rakan are just going to pretty much permanently shove the wave because they can, you know? So low elo, like once they get to the point where they win the lane, they just keep shoving the lane and taking chip damage on the tower and all of that stuff, trying to get the plates, and then ultimately like they're going to take your tower. And there's not very much that you can do about it unless you get like a really nice gank, and that will temporarily delay it, but one gank is not going to put you ahead of them in terms of the game state. And so that's kind of going to be the pattern until this tower falls. It's just going to be fucking farm simulator under the tower, you know, and there's not going to be too much you can do about it. Even at 6, because Xayah can use her ult to dodge your ult. And so the only play here is like playing for like a long con, playing to engage on your second ultimate. Because you expect her to dodge your first one, but her ult is on such a long cooldown that if you use it, like right when you hit 6, she'll dodge that, but then the next time you have ult, she won't have hers. And so you can look for a play like that. But that's something like, obviously, are you going to hit 6 on the next minion wave? No. So if we identify the incoming wave as A, can we do anything on A? No. Will we hit 6 on B? Yes. Will she dodge our ult? Yes. So will we effectively be able to do anything on B? No. I want to make that a little bit more clear. This. So in the end, none of that matters, right? Because we still can't do anything. On wave C, well, we have ultimate. No. On wave D, well, we have ultimate. It depends on your CDR, but I don't think so. So on wave E, will we have ultimate? Yes. Will she have ultimate? No. So can we look for a play? Yes. So we're literally thinking about things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves ahead. And that's assuming that you hit 6 on this wave. So that's kind of the way that this goes. This is also assuming that she uses her ult to dodge your ult. And the best way to incentivize her to do that is to call Graves down for this and make him show here. So like the way that this would play out is that Graves would like run out of river or something. Because you're going to be shoved under tower. So as soon as they shove a wave, Graves shows here, and you cast your ult on her, wherever she is. And then she'll probably just ult to get away from it, or she'll probably just like flash to get away from it or something. And so if she flashes, that's even more problematic, because that means that, again, you're playing for, you're not going to be able to play for this wave. Keep my colors consistent here. You're not going to be able to play for this wave because she still has ult, which means that you can't do anything. You're not going to be able to play for this wave because you don't have ult, and she still has ult because she used flash on this wave, potentially, right? So this is actually like a question mark because we don't know. She has the ability to flash instead of ulting. So now we're in a position where this becomes the play. So now we're thinking eight waves into the future, which is what, 4 minutes? So potentially in 4 minutes from now is the earliest time, potentially, that you could even look to get an engage on this Saya. And you guys are not just going to ping pong waves for 4 minutes. Because if it got to anywhere near this long, she would just shove in the wave and recall because she doesn't have to stay. Like, this is the earliest that you can make a play, but it forces her to like handshake this. Like, okay, I'll just continue to shove you under the tower and then I'll just stand here. I hope you don't ult me. Hee hee. But she doesn't have to do that. She can just say like, oh, you know what? I got the wave under the tower. I had to flash last time. I don't have ult yet. So it's been like 4 minutes. I've just been straight farming minions and bottom. I have a ton of gold at this point. I think at this stage in the game, like one wave is equal to 125 gold. So I've gotten 1,000 gold. And so I could just back and get whatever it is that I'm trying to get. I got 1,000 gold plus passive gold gen for 4 minutes. I don't know what passive gold gen is, but I got like, let's say 1,100 gold at least. So this could be tier 2 boots. It could be I could be able to sell Doran's Blade and get BF sword if that's what I really want to do. I could get another pickaxe or something if I didn't get pickaxe the first time. Again, we haven't really pressed tab, so I don't really know what her items are right now. I would assume that she had the gold on the first buy for BF. She got like 2 kills out of it, right? So I would assume that she got BF on the first back. And so this could be pickaxe and tier 1 boots or something. You know, she has options here. The whole point is that she doesn't even have to handshake this play 4 minutes from now. But that's the earliest, potentially, that's the earliest time that you can actually make a play. So we're playing fucking Farm Simulator now for the next 4 minutes. Which makes me want to stop the replay here. Because this is how the game should play out. You're not allowed to interact with her until 13 and a half minutes. Stand up into XP range, and that's about all you can do. But yeah, Rakan is now in the position that you are level 1, where he can kind of zone you off. So if you get hit with like a W and then an R, you're going to take a lot of damage. Wow. Kind of late on the W. We can just W like right before Rakan knocks us up. Like, we even had the ward on the bush, so we know that he's like sitting there just looking for a play, and so our fingers, like, naturally your fingers sit on QWER, right? But what I mean is that your fingers should be ready to press that button as it's sitting on there. So you almost get a gank from Orianna. That gank from Orianna would have been like the wave B that I was talking about. Just look where we are right now. Whoops. Look where we are right now. We're actually on wave B. And so that gank from Orianna would have substituted the gank from Graves that I said that you needed. Go back and watch the video if you think I didn't call this. It's really funny. It's so badly played. Like, mostly on their part, but it's also badly played on your part. So I'm going to try to break this down, like, step by step. And I'll end the video after this because the video is just going to get too long. Like, we've already acknowledged that you're not allowed to actually interact with her until 13 and a half minutes. So the fact that she lets you is just fucking, it's just bad. And I'm not going to talk about, like, people that are bad. But I'll talk about this one scenario. Just because, like, if your opponents are bad, which they will be, then you need to play this better. Okay. First off, we're going to W right now. before we take the recon damage. It's the same situation that just happened a second ago. We're going to W before recon hits us. In the end, we do get the W before Xayah hits us, so that's nice. Okay. Now, Caitlyn's on board to fight this, and Caitlyn's actually quite healthy. So, even though, like, where the situation is, they have 2-level advantage on you. Because you're 7-7, but then it's 7-5. So they have 2-level advantage on you. You should just die, and they should be able to get away for free. But somehow they egregiously fuck this up. Right here, you get your level up. Because a minion dies or something. I think a minion walks into tower, or maybe Caitlyn Q hit a minion or something, or maybe just the way that this minion looks low. Maybe it was fighting this minion. I think that's the minion that died. So something was fighting. So whenever you press like W, like way back here or wherever it is that you pressed it, whenever you press W, like right here, as you're looking to throw that E, like at all stages of the lane, you should be conscious of your XP bar. And so before you press that W, you should be pretty conscious that, damn, I'm like right here. You know, I'm really close to 6. If a minion dies, I'm going to hit 6. So then you should be thinking about that consciously during the fight. Like, I'm about to hit 6. I'm about to hit 6. And even on some fights where you're thinking that, it's not going to happen every single game where you want to hit 6 on that engage. Sometimes the minions just don't RNG, or sometimes like your ADC isn't on the same page, and so they don't kill that one minion that you needed. Or like this minion could have fucking decided to aggro something else, and so walked a different way, and you wouldn't have had 6 at this exact moment or something, you know? Things don't always work out that smoothly. I'm just saying you should be consciously thinking about this. Then what you can do is control plus R. So if you hold control and you hit the R key, it will level up your abilities, unless you've rebinded your hotkeys for some reason, but that's the default on everything. If you hold control and then press a button, it will level up whatever ability that the button was that you pressed, like when you were holding control. So if you control R right now, you could potentially get a double stun just by casting it like here, you know, like on yourself or something. You could potentially hit them both. Like, obviously, the blast radius is much higher. You're definitely going to hit them both. Something like that, right? I can't really draw circles. This part would be a little bit skinnier or something. This isn't fucking drawing class, right? But you'd be able to tag them both with the R, as it is. And then you could, like, aim the stun on one person to definitely hit them, because it looks like Xayah's the one in the front right now. So this is actually quite good now, because Xayah's in auto attack range of Caitlyn. And Xayah already used Q out here. So she's missing one form of damage. So this is actually quite a good spot for Caitlyn to be in, because Caitlyn can now auto, and Xayah can't really retaliate in a meaningful way right now. And Rakan can't really get on the Caitlyn either, because he already used W. And then he used E to get out. And so at this point, he would kind of have to like flash R or something in. I don't even know if he has flash. So this is okay. If we did skill R and try to hit them both with it, Xayah would have dodged this. So even if you were thinking like, I'm going to wait until Xayah ults before I use my ult, maybe that's your thought process. But then why do you flash that? I don't think that you die. You're maxing W, which is the correct choice, and you have 400 HP, 500 HP. So you don't die from this E. It's 6 blades. I'm not going to do the math on that because I don't know how much each blade does, but it's 6 of them. So you can do the math. Look it up if you don't believe me. You don't die from this ability. And so you would actually be sitting like on her, and now you would skill R right now, and look at where they've ended up. Now you can hit such a nice R from right here, and you'd still be sitting like, you'd be basically like sitting in this location or something, because you'd be sitting on Xayah. So now you're quite close to Xayah, and she's quite low. And if you do hit the stun onto her at this point in time, your Q is going to come up to where you can pretty much just walk from here to like here, and then be able to sit on her, you know, and then set up that auto Q. which is going to be timed really nicely by the time that she comes off of stun from your ult. So if we do end up going for the ult now, again, it's just late, and we wasted flash. We didn't ignite when we went in. Like, I think initially, whenever you W here and then choose to take the E, I think that you're just going to ignite her right away. It's another situation like what the Graves gank was earlier, because you're taking an engage that, like, on paper, it's a bad engage, right? Because you have very low HP. You don't know how they're going to play it. Obviously, they play it like the worst possible way that you can. But, yeah, like, in this scenario, you're on paper taking a bad engage. And so the only way to kind of really help you out, like, you need as much help as possible to turn this bad engage around. And so you want to burn that ignite. It does end up landing, and now you feel comfortable like walking into it and hitting the stun. All of this is fine. You do put the ignite on her like in the end, but at that point she's already had a chance to heal. She got the healing back from her auto. She has BF plus double longsword, and then the 3% lifesteal and maybe bloodline on top of that. So she was healing that whole time. It doesn't look like she popped her potion though, so that's actually pretty good. Miss this E, that's not a big deal. I'm not concerned about that, because obviously Graves is going to pick up this kill by the time he gets here, but I don't think this ever comes to a point in time where Graves should get here to pick up the Xayah. I think the Xayah should have died earlier. I think the Xayah would have died earlier if you played this better. 100%. And so now, we don't have the HP to turn on Rakan. So if we did kill Xayah earlier, we would have taken less damage overall, which means that Rakan could not have killed us in this place. Oh, Rakan doesn't kill us. Kayn kills us. We wouldn't have been... Still, the same principle applies. We wouldn't have been in a spot where Kayn could have just one-shot us, because look, he actually misses one part of his Q, which is actually quite big. And because we had more HP, we would have pathed differently. Like, instead of just trying to drop that auto and then just walk away, we actually probably could have like walked forward instead, because we would have had the HP, which would have given us the confidence. And so when Kayn shows over this wall, we actually probably just path back towards this brush. Graves is full health, so Kayn has to make the choice. Do I want to run past the full health Graves? Do I actually want to fight this Caitlyn? At that point, Caitlyn would kind of kite towards you, and so you're basically just stalling for time here, waiting for these cooldowns, and you have like at least 100 more HP. Maybe 150, maybe 200 more HP. So you don't die to Kayn here. So whereas this could have been like a pretty free double kill, like we would have burned Ignite, but we would not have flashed, and we would not have died. Those are like the situations, like you need to be able to play those really, really well. I don't care about the rest of this lane, honestly. I think that that's like long enough for this video. So we'll just go ahead and call it a thought.